Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizTalks Unplugged Season 2, presented by INR The Insight Room, where we open the floor to unrestricted and unscripted dialogues for curious business minds. We are living in a time where talent is global, AI is accelerating, and leadership mistakes are extremely expensive. Our today's guest is none other than Mr. Indraneil Roy, Vice President and Global Head, Strategic Leadership and Sales Hiring at Movate. He has had the global experience in executive research and talent consulting, spearheaded the AI-led recruitment transformation, and was former GM and head strategic hiring at Wipro. He also implemented semantic contextual search with 75% plus productivity improvement. Welcome, sir. It's an absolute honor to have you with us today. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Srijan. Thanks for welcoming. So we are good to be back with a lot of BHU, ex-BHU students. I recollect my good old days there for 2 years in Varanasi and BHUs particularly. So just to give a context, I had joined BHU for a course called Masters in International Business. It was the first time that course was launched, year 1991, I believe. Yeah, and so I was there for around 1.5, 2 years in the duration of the course, and it was meant to be a course meant for building your competencies in export import and international business. And that's when we are left, and I joined a company in Bombay, fundamentally in that particular space in trading houses. But over the period of few years, things have changed a lot in India. There was a global know, economy boost, and then there was a liberalization under Manmohan Singh. So a lot of changes happened at that point of time, and the IT industry at that time was, just started to boom up, and they were looking for talent in across the, other industries because it was such a huge gap between demand and supply. So some friend of mine referred me to a company called TechSpan, which was a startup at that point of time, and they told me that they were looking for people with sales and international business experience to be part of the recruitment function because and I said why. And then they said that talent is so difficult to get, and there's such a booming industry that we have to start selling the jobs of the company and the career, and that's why we need very strong sales guys who can talk to candidates and pitch in and get them onboarded to us. So I took that as a challenge. It was also very interesting because we're going to hire in India, but we're going to deploy. That's when the H1 boom was also there. So we deploy them across the globe, especially US. So it's slightly very much similar to what we do in export business in normal industry, standard. So yeah, I took up that challenge, and then that's been the journey from there on. After that, I've not looked back. So as the industry progressed, I also progressed and worked in various companies. Slowly and steadily, I sort of became a very specialized person in hiring for leadership talent in Wipro, and then had a couple of other stints, and now heading the leadership hiring in a company called Movate, which is also a mid-sized company in IT services, but a very fast-growing company, and again a company focused on AI and the growth of AI services, AI-linked outcome services. Now, so here again, the challenge is there. Typically, again, AI has become a big thing, and again, the talent pool for AI is constrained, with demand being much higher than supply. So it's again back to putting across the best of your company, attracting talent, and then evaluating them accordingly, and then hiring such talents into the company. So that's where we are right now. So good to be and talking among all of you to understand how AI and HR are linked and what is the future. So let's start the ball rolling and we can talk about it.
Sure, sir. So, such a illustrious journey and so many points that you have covered. So, basically, you have seen how the recruitment evolved from manual sourcing to AI-powered leadership analytics,
Yeah.
and we are very eager to unpack that evolution with you. So,
Mm.
if you were to look back on your journey, how do you say that how has leadership hiring looked 15, 20 years ago, and how has it changed from that transactional hiring mindset to a more strategic talent architecture?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things actually. it's not a very simple answer that one or two, three things have changed and that's what it will be. Um, See, when I started off, say, in uh, late 90s in recruitment, it was a time when the internet was just coming into the play, and the recruitment at that till that point of time was very much dependent upon classified ads in newspapers and magazines. You know, you put your company positions there, and people would apply them through the newspaper, and they would send you a post. That time, I think the email had just started off, so we were using emails at that point of time to get resumes. There was a lot of dependency on agencies and partners, especially headhunting firms. And even headhunting firms also were at that time really dependent upon what we call these, that gold standard of headhunting, taking up the phone and making cold calls to various, you know, people using the yellow pages. At that point of time, the yellow pages were the go-to tool to figure out which company is doing what, and in the telephone directory, figure out the name, guys, phone numbers, and try and see, are they interested on. So it was a very difficult job, very time consuming. And for leadership at that point of time, the way it was that the uh, industry being very nascent, I'm talking about only the IT industry at point of time. So a lot of people came in, they grew with the company basically, and they started off with the junior level, mid levels, and then they started growing. And the company started growing. The opportunities for leaders also grew. So there was a lot more internal movement to fulfill jobs at that point of time, and that how it continued till I would say the 2000s beginning or so. And at that point of time, I think the talent pool internally was sort of exhausted. A lot of positions were still getting created at the leadership level. And then the direction, this industry, the IT industry has changed a lot. If you look at the late 90s, say if you start from the 80s in semiconductors and micros and personal computers. Then it became Y2K for a certain period of time. Then the internet boom and dot-com boom happened. Then towards 2005, the outsourcing boom happened where offshoring started really picking up with the global development center concepts. And then we had the cloud movement where things started moving onto the cloud. Then we had the digital transformation journey where things started getting onto the cloud, and then we started build applications on the cloud, and then moved into now the AI piece. So you see that things are really changing, you know, drastically, and every few years we have technology changes happening there. So what has happened is that now the company have started growing. They've got internal talent, but as technology changes, as things change, and it's changing so frequently and so drastically, that talent at the leadership level sometimes is left flat-footed and not able to really understand what are the changes happening. Because what happens is once you build certain capabilities, strengths, there's a human tendency to continue and believing that that's where I am and I've achieved, I've achieved my goals and objectives. I'm a great player in this particular space. The company loves my contribution. So there's generally a competency which comes in at that point of time, and sometimes a lot of people miss out on the trends and all. Because in this industry, you have to keep looking out for what are the trends that are happening, and trends will happen at least 10 odd years before it starts becoming a hype. So what I've seen in the hiring process here is that initially leadership hiring was a very controlled hiring done by the CEO or his direct reportees, function heads. They would know a few people. They will work with the headhunting firms, get a couple of positions open, and they will fulfill it because that's how it was. Most of the talent was coming internally up. But then the industry started really expanding, and these technology changes were also happening simultaneously. Then huge gaps started coming in the industry, and I could see companies struggle to figuring it out how to move to we are at point one here, how to go to point five and get a piece of that pie which is happening there. Because your talent pool has got trained in some technologies, your leadership has got complacent in some particular space that they knew very well, and they have done very well there also. Not that they've not done, but this particular space is completely different. So immediately the action would be to then go and get people from outside, and we'll pay big money. We will just do the necessary selection, and then let these guys come, and then magic will happen, and we will go into again get into that area. It doesn't really happen always like that, as we all know. So the initial days of leadership hiring was typically a kind of a expansion of what they were doing in early 2000s, and this at a larger scale, more recruiters coming in, working with CVs and putting them through the normal interviewing process, and then even the panel, the leaderships, they were also not very well concerned with the new technology, so they took a educated guess, and then we just see if they've onboarded somebody, then whether that guy will be successful or not. And generally, our my feedback at point of time was that I would say 60% of the hiring was okay, but 40% was not, and that also created a lot of issues downstream because you pay money and you expect something to be delivered, you expect some transformation to happen, and then after 18 months, you suddenly see that things are really not moved. It may have moved point 0.5, point, you know, 50%, some point 0.5 or 0.75. It's not certainly hasn't not gone to 1 to 5. So then again, you start understanding what went wrong. You figure out that during the evaluation process and all, we missed out these kind of key skills, and you come to know by then that okay, these are the key ingredients and skills and experience that is required to be successful in that particular thing. But then you've already lost nearly 2 years, and then it takes another 6 months to get the right kind of talent pool again. So you've lost 2.5 years in a journey which we were supposed to have done in less than a year. And what happens when you lose 2.5 years, you start on it. By the time the next cycles, feelers and the changes that are going to happen in technology start coming in. So you are right now concentrating on this, trying to reach what wanted to do 1 year back, and then you stabilize it and get into it after spending some hard-earned money, and then you figure out that after some time, yeah, now things are again changing. So again, you have to go through that entire cycle again. So, so what companies are doing nowadays is that that is the reason why many of the technology companies have started having their own dedicated leadership hiring team, for which I initially was part of the Wipro hiring team and now with Movate. And our job is not only to hire, our job is to figure out what the company is going to do the next 3, 5, 10 years. Predominantly focus more on the 3 to 5 years because 10 years is still too far out, and figure out what are the kind of key business go to market strategy, what are the kind of deliverables and practice building is needed to reach that level, and then frame out what are the kind of candidate core competencies skills are needed to be successful for doing that particular job. So when we start the recruitment process, we don't start just by getting CVs in. We first put through a job description, which will have obviously the necessary standard template of what is necessary in terms of good to have and must have skills, experience also. But we also try to put in what are the kind of KPI, KRAs they will own, what are the key result areas, the key performance indicators that these individuals will carry in that job. And it is vetted by the hiring team or even maybe by the CXO levels to understand, okay, this is what exactly the person will bring to the table. And this aligns with our business goals, which are going to be for the next 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is. So there's a kind of a intervention required there and some brainstorming is required at that point of time. Once that is there, then we obviously use the necessary route and channels. The leadership hiring also is now moved a lot from those days, old days of telephones and yellow paper and telephone directories and placement companies. Now it's heavily internet dependent. LinkedIn has become a very much primary go-to tool for leadership hiring, and it's become a it was started off as a social networking site for professionals. It's done very well for itself, and the kind of database and the kind of network it has helped create has probably given a huge boost to leadership hiring and identifying good talent in the industry and across the globe. So that's become a very strong tool to utilize. Then obviously, one of the key things and good recruitment functions or companies do is networking and finding out referrals through friends and colleagues, employees, and we also do the same because that's the other channel which is very good to have. I would say must have, because it not only gives you identifies good talent, it also people have worked with these people, so they have a faith that they know what kind of job and expertise this person brings to the table. The candidate also says that, okay, if my friends and colleagues are doing well in this company, maybe there's growth and opportunity here, so I can also try my chances and work here. And generally the information is much more free flowing and there's no ambiguity. So that's the other route and channel that is being used nowadays extensively, especially in leadership. And the third route obviously still remains the partners and vendors. Sometimes we go for retained searches, sometimes confidential retained searches if it's a senior, absolutely senior level, or sometimes we go for project-based hiring through them if we need to ramp up very fast. So there are various models in that as well. We can discuss it as we if we want to discuss it for the future. But yeah, so these are the key new ingredients that have come in. But fundamentally, I would say our the area that we at leadership have looked at is first of all in the evaluation stage itself, because of the skill sets that are required. It has to match. We can't. So that 60% okay at that point of time in 2000 is not is it 60% anymore. Ideally, we would like out of 100 people who joined, I would say now the it should be as close to 90-95% people should be the one. They should fit in right well, starting from day one when they join the company. There will still be some bad hires, but it has to be minimized, because at the leadership level or when you're doing work at a strategy level or where you're fundamentally responsible for very key deliverables, if one miss these days can lead to many different downstream issues. And it's not just simply a question of one project deliverable getting delayed or one product development getting delayed. It has repercussions now. And with the AI piece coming in now, um, your competition is always there, close by. And customers are also now very savvy. They know for every penny and buck they invest, what is the returns they need. So any kind of imbalance in that particular space can create challenges. So the scope to make major mistakes is absolutely not there, or I would say very minimized. So that care has to be taken.
So interestingly, how you have mentioned the shift, in like volume hiring to strategic hiring, from the CVs to capability mapping, and the global talent mobility, and the gateways like the as in the you have stated through partners or competitors or even the referrals or the LinkedIn, which is now become an official platform for leadership hiring and professional hiring gateways. Would you say that what if you were to explain to someone as who has no concept of what leadership hiring actually looks like, how would you do
Mm.
that? And
So yeah, go ahead.
yes, and there's one more thing that since you mentioned about like that if the failures of hiring of wrong hiring in the leadership has been minimized, but there are still some points to work on. What does that hiring failures actually look like?
Mm. Good question. So see, failure is pretty much it comes to it can be measurable actually. So like when we look at leadership hiring, what we look at is basically a talent who has the ability to, strategize, think. He has had expertise and experience behind him. He understands the technology landscape. I'm talking about IT hiring. Okay, so uh, sort of pardon me if non-IT guys find it likely, all this thing, but more or less even there also this the concept is mostly same, that they come with a lot of industry experience and expertise and experience. I think the first thing is that they have to, when you hire somebody like that, they are coming with a certain purpose in mind, and you're hiring them that they will deliver certain X, Y, Z things, and so you evaluate them on that basis, their personality. So when you're talking about the difference between volume and leadership hiring, so these are the criteria why it is different. Is that our criteria evaluation is much more deeper and much more wider. In billable hiring is fundamentally you have a core set of skill sets and some good to have must have skill sets. You basically just go into the evaluation of those skill sets, whether that person is able to answer questions or is able to figure out solutions based on those topics. And if they are good enough and they clear that interview rounds by answering correctly, generally they will be selected and made an offer. In leadership hiring, at this level, people can talk a lot and everybody is an expert. So you really don't go into a question answer session of saying you do this, you have done that, what you did for you. You have to basically go a little bit deeper. Two things. One is your experiential, the evaluation of 360-degree view you need to take from that candidate. If he has done a role of a program manager or a senior delivery manager, then what are the kind of things that he has done and what are the kind of things he would have done to make it more successful? Uh, Typically with people resources, typically with his peer group, reporting structure, people resources under him, peer group, his manager. If he's handling customers, then what kind of level of customers and what was interaction with the customers? How did he handle the stakeholder management? Were there escalations or not? If he says no, there was no escalation, then it's a red flag actually. Because if he's not handled difficult situations, then will he be able to handle difficult situations in our company or not? So sometimes it's important that they have faced difficult situations, but the important thing is that how did they figure out the solution to go and handle that difficult situation? So real life experiences are what we really look into, and the evaluation criteria is fundamentally based on experiences and how you've handled those experiences. How have you involved, and not that you've done everything on your own. How have you involved your team, your peer group, your larger ecosystem, the company, maybe even the customer. Sometimes the customer is some issues are there. Customer is also most willing to help. So are you able to leverage their resources or not also? And then how have you ensured that the see if a problem happened, how did you ensure that the problem did not happen later on? What kind of corrective measures and this thing has been taken? What has been your thought of deploying tools and other technologies which help you to improve your productivity or your deliverables? So we get into that kind of depth actually. It's something which is not only something which they have done, but what they have thought about doing, and if they've thought and done it, even better. And that entire 360-degree view is to be considered. Then a lot of companies, and in our company also, we also do a lot of third-party reference checks as well. Meaning, you're going through the process, but we figure out from our colleagues, ex-colleagues, or people we know the industry, and do some lot of ref checks to understand whether this person has genuinely done some of the work that he mentions in his resume or during the interview process. And then there are certain evaluation techniques also of psychometric tools that are available. It is not compulsory to use the result because it is not correct, to be frank. And in some geos like US and all, it is not legal to take a decision on psychometric results. So psychometric tools can be used only to measure what is the thought process and attitude, interests. What are these, how the person thinks, what do you think is in his mind, what his strengths and weaknesses. That gives a guidance. You can use it as guidance to answer the right questions at that point of time during the interview process. So that's how these are a few techniques which are used in the leadership hiring, which is different from say standard normal volume based hiring. And if you make mistakes, then there are obviously, as I said in the beginning, mistakes at this level have a downstream impact. So if there is a mistake where you are not able to manage your team properly and your top performance, actual guys who are really doing the project, they start leaving and attrition becomes high. It takes a lot of time to backfill, and then you don't get the right talent and the right match again. Sometimes people will have to be trained, and it takes time. So it's not a question of that one person is left in say 2 months, and then you get another person in and he fits the job and he starts doing it. it Most of the time, it doesn't work that way. So your core talent has to be groomed well. As they also have to look up to you as a guide. They also have to have a growth path. It's not that only you are only supposed to be leaders, but they are also aspiring to be leaders. So you have to take care of them, do that management. Similarly, in a peer group also, you can't do everything on your own. Especially these days with AI also coming in, we can talk about it also. People think that yeah, AI will do everything and take over. It's nothing like that actually. With the situation with AI, it's such that you have to start collaborating with a lot of people, and AI makes it convenient for doing that. If you start doing it in silo, then you will get negative results actually, and the AI will sort of accelerate that negative results for you, and you will be in a extremely bothersome spot when you're doing your job. So all these things have to be taken into account, and then with customer also same thing. If you spoil the relationship, who knows if the customer is absolutely negative about the way the company is delivered because of one person, they may cancel the deals and all and projects because they always have nowadays options available and various models of delivery are available. So you can't make that mistake. So it's extremely important that you hire right talent. You When you hire the right talent, you also ensure that the right talent is given the right tools and opportunity and groomed and guided, and then ensure that the right talent are working with cohesion in the company.
So, if I were to, make an attempt to summarize it, I would say that the hiring leaders is not about filling positions; it's about like shaping the organizational futures.
Exactly.
It's interesting, sir. You mentioned about the AI. I actually recently had a conversation with the GM in finance of a group,
Mhm.
and he was talking about that equity research modeling, which is the finance things that we both love. That it's very difficult to do, and I have to read a lot of documents, and then I have to make the modeling. And I was simply showed him that, okay, there's this app called Claude, and you may create a skill, go for the available connectors and plugins, and what you're doing it for hours, we can do it like in a matter of what 5 to 10 minutes. And he found it to be something which is extremely interesting and generally adds value. So within the recruitment landscape, we have the AI, and there's this hype, and then there's the reality.
Yeah.
So, where do you see that the AI, genuinely adds value? Is it in the semantics, the talent heat map, or whatever, whichever area that you find it to be useful?
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll obviously talk about AI since the in thing right now in terms of topics. So the AI, the way it is, I was started working on AI in the year 2015, really 10 years back, more than 10 years back. And that time it was just a small. We had a tool which we were trying to incubate in Wipro, and that tool was being used to do semantic matches with the job description and the resume, and figuring out which resumes will match the job, and then stack rank them. The basic level, let's think. So AI, if you look at it at current situation, the way I just told the example, is that its impact is now being felt more at the lowest level, where the jobs are typically repetitive and very mundane, uh, typically transactional oriented jobs, is where and bit of where the thought has to go into, like the equity model research you said. You have to put a lot of thought into it and then take the right data points and then make the model. Similarly, in recruitment also, you have to put thought to it. You can't just do blind searches. You have to understand the job description and then understand the resume and then do a match. So that, but that is still at a very basic level of intelligence, I would say, at the junior most level. And those are the kind of jobs in every industries where the AI impact is being felt right now. So okay, so as you become more expertise in your industry, there are many other factors that come in, and then the AI component still has a lot of catch up to do there. But at the base level, where you are for recruitment, let's say like search, match, rank CVs, or schedule a interview between a candidate and a panel, or you basically collect documents for making an offer. These are very transactional jobs. There are standard template available. You have to make sure that those templates are there being used. You tick mark what is being done and what are the gaps, and then simply just match what is required and what the person CV has. And that's how typically you can then stack rank it. Obviously, the models are undergoing changes because they started becoming more and more conscious. Earlier, it was simple syntax based match, search and match. Now they've gone into role definition, like what role and what syntax match with the job description, role, and expertise. And now slowly and slowly, they are also models are coming in where they are also trying to figure out whether that person in the resume has mentioned some end results and the job they are doing and the end results of that, and they are trying to match that so that people can say I've done architecture, but architecture everybody. So that's another thing here, that in AI, because it's still at the base level, some of these individuals are quite smart, so they have started beating the AI models also. So they know that any company wants architects. It's a hot skill again, and they want AI nowadays. So the resume is structured, and they know how to type out the resume. And now this Chat GPT and Gemini also can build the resumes for you. So fundamentally they've been able to beat it, meaning they put all the AI and architecture word, whatever is important for that role, in the CV, and they get Gemini and Chat GPT to make a good format of CV, and immediately the AI in the customer, the company's recruitment function, they're able to pick it up and extract it as a thing. So it's like it's beating the system basically. It's not really adding the value. So obviously companies are now going to the next level where they're trying to figure out what is the end result he is showing in his CV, and whether can be figured out without biases by the AI engine in our recruitment systems. So it's an evolving process like this, and right now the impact would be at the base level only, but evolving. And as we start building more stronger AI models, we'll start taking on the more evaluating techniques that I mentioned in the beginning. More and more of those techniques will start getting modeled onto AI, and we'll see. But there's always, see, human mind is something which is still way above an AI. So if there are young students here, see, you have to learn yourself and you have to pick up skills which is important. You can't be just saying that, okay, I've studied an MBA or I've done my engineering and then I'll get a job and then I'll do it. That is not how it is going to evolve now going forward. You have to start building skills. And I've been doing some interviews with campuses lately. I figured out that, yeah, most individuals have started picking up skills which are like hardcore engineering or hardcore, say, data engineering kind of skills or data scientist kind of skills, which have a role to play in the AI world. So you have to build. So for human beings, to beat any kind of automation, AI, whatever it may be, all the technology changes that have come in, and believe me, if I'm not wrong, every tech invention and technology across centuries has led to creation of different jobs and removal of old jobs. It is nothing from a conceptual point of view, nothing very different. People are only getting afraid because it could be impacting a large chunk of white collar jobs. So, but that's been the evolution in technology throughout the history of world and history of man. So I don't see that a challenge because you will start picking up new skills. Already, the people have started picking up skills like a human in the loop kind of thing in AI, where already you have to start adding a lot more value than what you were doing a few years back in the same job, and then you use AI as your as a tool and not as a competitor. So that kind of situation will start evolving now more and more. So students, then people who just join jobs, if they are AI savvy, like standard ones, the Chat GPT, Gemini, all very standard, which can be used straight away without much of a training. But even using some AI models and all on products or applications on some models, you pick up on them, you learn them, and then if it caters to your and it helps you to build your productivity in the job, then you will stand apart from people who don't have that. So it's like when the PC came in, PC how to use a PC, you were standing apart from people who were using pen and paper. So obviously you got premium for that. Similarly, when you went into internet savvy, you were known how to use the internet and apps on internet and cloud-based apps, and people who do not know how to use it, you stood apart from them. Similarly, now with AI, you start using AI and you just utilize it for your own productivity and own knowledge gain and improvement. You will stand apart from people who don't know this, and that's how the world works.
Rightly said, sir, and I would very much love to sort of expand on that. Yes, as you've said that the mechanical roles, or which are basically transactional in nature, are which is under threat with this evolution. The judgment-based roles still remain the same. A little bit on expanding on the line that you have added. Uh, most of the candidates these days, they're adding, based upon the roles or based on the job description, they're adding their AI tools that they have used that are suitable to the hiring and everything. And most of the CVs these days are you know are AI made sort of. So, and you have said that the hiring team, they look for the outcome oriented impact of what this tool or what this skills that have been mentioned. So how do you distinguish the this whole AI made CVs and all sort of thing?
So that's what I'm saying. So things evolve. So when you see this, it is very straightforward demand supply situation. If demand is low, supply is high, it's a deflation, and when demand is high, supply is low, it's inflation. So similarly, situation with individuals as well. So human being knows how to survive. Human being first job in this world when he's born is fundamentally first thing is to survive. So they know you. So if AI is taking over a lot of things, a lot of mundane things, and is able to figure out and do some transactions which are done manually earlier, so those jobs are under threat, and maybe in a few years' time may not be there at all. So human buying has already evolved. They say, okay, these are the jobs that will not be available. But what are the jobs that will be available is where I need to start putting my talent and my expertise on. And if I can use AI for doing that, then I will, do that. So people have already started understanding that when you apply for a job, you have to have AI, you have to have some knowledge on how to use AI, some skill sets which are hot. We put that in like a right perspective. At least the interview call will happen. But companies are also so what happens when you start depending upon too much on AI and all, you will first see okay results coming in, good results, but then suddenly you start seeing repetitive results coming in, where the end result is not giving you, the positive results. Meaning you probably started getting CVs and they are coming up in the AI screening as high ranked, but when you do an actual interview, they are getting rejected. So obviously, there's the net result is negative. So that means the engine has stopped. So that's the challenge of AI. That after some time, you have to redo the engines again and the models again to basically ensure that the changes that have happened over the last few months whatever the time frame, you sort of rectify that and reinvent that model again. So that's a constant process actually as of now. It is not that AI is the whole and soul and then it's a super human being kind of stuff and it will give you good results throughout your journey. It doesn't work that way, and after some time, the model starts failing. So you have to start making yourself better. So individuals also, what I'm saying is that you don't have to worry with AI taking jobs. What some jobs will go, that is very much standard and mundane. but you have to pick up your knowledge base and your skills and expertise at a much higher level. So you pick up more newer skills that are in demand now. Say like you want to work in AI, then start up working on see how data modeling and AI modeling is being done. And then there are a lot of new concepts of coming in, like human in the loop and all, where your human touch is required to basically build AI models and algorithms. So those kind of jobs will then start becoming more relevant. And at the junior level, when you're passing out of college, those kind of skill sets will attract, you know, companies to hire you rather than standard normal, degrees.
So when
And yeah,
yes, sir, you were saying, sir.
no, no, you can continue, no problem.
So you're saying that these unique skills, they attract the companies to individuals who are just passing out. So as since you are a recruiter yourself, what kind of skills do you actually use, or you actually see or like to see in the fresh MBA grads coming out? And somehow, do you find that the traditional way of MBA education is it becoming a bit obsolete, or is it still very much relevant?
Um, it's a little tricky question. See, MBA is basically a managerial degree. So what we see nowadays is that first of all, there's a plethora of MBA programs running across the country and the globe. Uh, if you're looking at doing an MBA and then becoming a manager, maybe that route is not so hot right now. But if you are able to pick up skills and skills that are relevant for the industry, and then do an MBA program, then you will be long term. You will have a better growth prospects in the outside world, especially if the industry. So you have to do that because simple managerial level work where you're managing and then people under you are supposed to do the job is getting restricted, and it's becoming a much more flatter structure nowadays with organizations. And it's also not only getting flatter, but it's also getting slightly cylindrical and not a pyramid kind of stuff. So it may be a pyramid, at a very sharp pyramid on the top, but basic below it's like actually like a cylinder. So you basically there are very few groups and talent that are required. You don't have to have too many people in the broad in the junior most level. So nowadays when you are hiring out of campus or let's say a junior guy, he has to bring a lot more to the table than just a degree. So that's I'm stressing the point that your skills have to be picked up, which is relevant to the industry. The MBA program is good. Certainly, it will help you long term. So as you pick up the skills, then you do your job, and because you have AI as a backup and a productivity tool, you do better than your competitors. Then you obviously can get into much higher roles. So the analytic mind, the mind when you start putting your strategy in place, when you start getting into jobs which are multifaceted in terms of various activities, people, resources, customer handling, technology, and then other processes and quality oriented jobs and all, then your MBA degree and your experience and your AI knowledge all will start playing a part to it. So that's how you have to look into it because um, the starting is where the challenge is, and there one has to pick up apart from an MBA with some good strong skills, and also preferably have some knowledge about how to use AI to improve your productivity.
So in the hiring landscape, it can be said that it is AI plus human judgment plus relevance and skills.
Yes.
So with this, evolutionary landscape that we see today in the globalized world, it is sort of very became very mundane that anyone can go and have a borderless talent. So, what do you like to think about this rise of cross-border hiring and any sort of remote leadership challenges that come along with this line of proceedings?
Yeah, yeah. But cross-border hiring has happened for quite some time. It's been there. Um, Obviously, as I said, when I also started off, that time the H-1B program was there, so we were hiring in India and deploying in US. it's still, excuse me, still, I also handle talent hiring across the globe as well into our company. And so global movement of talent is there. I would say there are a few things right now is happening. Um, Earlier, the labor movement was much more quicker and faster without much friction. When I'm talking about the 2000s, but now with the lot of automation, AI product. So what has had really happened is that your junior level to mid level has got really impacted with a lot of industrial automation, and a lot of the jobs have collapsed simply because either. So what has happened, the organizations generally shifted the manufacturing jobs to China and the services jobs to India. So the talent requirements in, say, countries like Singapore, Southeast Asia, or Europe is now very, not large, but very specialized. So again, it comes boils down to what I said, that the necessary ingredient to now become a global talent is to have proper good degrees and then some skills that will add value to that. And that's how you can become, a kind of a resource in demand when apply for global roles. Global roles still happens, okay, in this issue of visa restrictions and all. In spite of that, when companies want good talent, we will hire from wherever the good talent is available and at a good cost as well. So it is quite possible to move, but then the requirements are now becoming much more stringent. We are the person that we want to hire, their ability to deliver has to be absolutely top class, and they should be able to differentiate themselves from other talent simply by having that kind of expertise. And you will see it in various examples, live examples you see across the country and globe, where people who really have those skills and talent are doing extremely well in the global roles. So I would say that even in the industrial West and some of the countries where their demographics is not helping them to, attract or get talent, especially high-end skilled talent. And so there are two types of demand that I see happening in now. One is on this high-end, top-end technology talent, or you can say industry talent, let's say banking, finance, or manufacturing, or even technology, where you have to have a really good specialization, good degree. You are able to, your core competencies are such that you're able to work on areas which are really cutthroat, and you're working in area of strategy where you are really thinking ahead and building something for the future, which every organization would like to invest in. So that is one area that is growing, and demand is high and supply is low. The other area is on the blue collar side, which is basically your skilled labor in across industry, you know, which is in demand. So these are the two areas where we will see global talent movement still happening.
So within this, global talent framework, as it has been happening, how do you, sir, combat the cultural adaptability and the, what is the evaluation, criteria within it? Because every country is sort of different in their, markets and their approaches as well. Some countries may be a high context one, others came maybe a low context. So how do you like position this, frame?
So like in Wipro, when it's a large company, and we used to have very regular culture sessions for people getting deployed overseas. So there would be classroom sessions and culture. What are the basic ethics, ethical criterias? What are the do's and don'ts when you talk to anybody who's an American or British or whatever? And so we would do these interventions with people from those countries coming in and giving them the nuances, how to approach people while you're talking, how to negotiate, how to work in a team. Working in a team is one of the biggest challenges we have faced, and I think that is the area that typically needs a lot more focus still. But yeah, I think the organizations, they started feeling when we reached a certain size in the US, a lot of these H1, L1 deployments happening. I think the need was felt to do these kinds of interventions. So a company like Wipro, Infosys, and all, they have these culture assimilation programs to train people in India to who are getting deployed overseas. But one more important factor that is coming now is the diversity hiring. Diversity, what I mean by different nationalities being hired in the company. So we have been sort of like in Movate, we are a much more smaller company, but we still trying to focus and see if we can hire talent from various countries who can then work together in a team. Because that's the best way to build that keep compatibility and synergy of different people working in different, coming from different culture, and then giving the results. Because that is an important and a important criteria even for leadership hiring. That have you worked with functional, cross cultural teams? Because models are nowadays based on that. We may have customers may want an on-site team with an offshore team in Mexico or an offshore team in India with supported from Philippines. So so various kinds of modeling and concepts are there nowadays, and it's important that people who can understand and also work along with people who are coming from different cultures. And this is important. It's also one of the criteria to grow in your leadership role, because at that level, you may have to interact with people from various different cultures. And if you're not done it in your junior level or mid-level positions, you will might find it difficult at the leadership level. So that's also an important ingredient to be successful.
So with so many FTAs in position with India and the the nations around the world, and India's position in the global leadership supply chain, you being part of the hiring at the Movate, how do you see this progression unfold?
Yeah, the FTA, I think they have some of the FTAs are there where they have already mentioned that they would be taking talent as well. Uh, so I don't get into the nitty-gritties of what, but I know from my experience the last 27 years in the industry that the demand for good talent is there, even if there are enough hurdles and whatever we hear about US H1B and all that is okay. But still, when companies want talent, they will hire the talent. So FTAs and all are there. It sort of makes it slightly easier on the legal and processing, visa processing and work permit processing side of it. But fundamentally, it boils down to the demand and supply. If the company, if the organizations, customers, or companies in those countries have demand for the kind of skills they want, they will go and get those talent. So one has to. So yeah, the idea is that if you are mediocre and just done a degree, wanting to just do a managerial job, get paid good salary, and probably work, you know, standard normal operating work, those kind of work is not there, and you will have to basically upgrade yourself to achieve that level of expertise. So that's the difficult part, I would say, but that is doable also. It is not impossible. So I would say that you spend your young days on educating yourself, gathering some new skills, working on AI, try to use AI as a productivity tool for yourself. Maybe start off with mundane activities only. But once you start using it, you get a feel of like in PC. People started using PCs first to play games mostly, and then later on it evolved into so many things. So that's how you build your capability in AI also. And I'm sure in India people are having a lot of aspirations, and with middle class and everybody here, they aspire to do get a good lifestyle, and they will work for it. So that's what is the basic need right now. That things have changed. What was there few years back, things next few years will be quite different. In spite of all the negativity of hypes and whatever there is there in geopolitics, geoeconomics, whatever. But at the end of the day, if we have the right skill, right technology expertise, and necessary communication has to be very good. Nowadays, uh, try to build interpersonal skills a lot more. Communication, what I mean is interpersonal skills, talking, writing, communicating your thoughts to others properly. That's what uh, is what I was also looking at, and I'm sure you will be able to get the necessary breaks that you look for.
So would you not say that you mentioned about the mediocrity that every student just getting a degree and dreaming of to become a manager and getting good salary sort of thing has become very prevalent among the students who are doing their management degrees from a public university. It can be state, it can be central, it may have different value. And you have come, although there has been a significant amount of time, you do have come from a public university. Do you see that the Indian management education, in these large frameworks, have failed to prepare students to sort of master their demonstrated capability versus getting a more traditional way of form of.
Yeah, I think that challenge has always been there, even in our times. Also, we did give feedback to the university faculty that ideally we should have picked up some more skills at that point of time. I'm talking about, especially people. No, we didn't have computers only at that point of time when we did our MBA program, but uh, we sort of went outside and learned it. At that time, NIT was the go-to hub and shop for picking up computer skills. So obviously, when we landed up in our jobs, we had that knowledge, and any company which was having that time the EDP department and MIS department was separate kind of thing. So we could easily make our reports and make some word documentation presentation. So that gives that point of time that was the USP we had. But nowadays, obviously, that is mundane. And so that's how the ladder is, that you have to pick up skills as it progresses. And the industry, the faculties in India, unfortunately, have slightly been, especially management faculties, is gone into mass production actually. Ideally, I would believe that they should be not having so many MBA. We don't need so many managers actually. We need a lot more skilled technical expertise with managerial skills. I will put it that way. Managerial skills are still required, over a period of time, but that can be picked up in the industry also when you start working in the industry. So this thing to take up an MBA just to become manager and get a good salary, that model I think is breaking and maybe already broken. It's fundamentally going to be a lot more skills with managerial capabilities, which will get you through, especially with AI and all. So uh, you can start working on AI tools, applications while you're studying. So when you're out of your colleges, you will be able to easily, bring some value to organizations that are looking out for talent. Believe me, even now in the industry, IT industry is undergoing such, hard. People think is going through hardships and all. Even now, companies like us, all companies, not only us, all companies are struggling to fulfill all their roles. And in spite of that, so many layoffs happening, news coming in and all. Why? Because this complete skill mismatch happening. Because this industry changes every few years. So for all these guys who were doing testing and Java and did not evolve into anything beyond that are no longer required. So they will get laid off. But anybody having an AI, data analytics, data modeling with uh, full, app development on cloud with AI, those kind of skills are absolutely not available at all. So now what is happening is these guys who get laid off, they'll spend 1.5, 2 years training themselves on the new skills, wait for another few months to then go through the interview process. So they are out of the labor market, but they will come back in 2 years' time. So that's how it is. That's how we underwent. I don't know if many of you may remember or not. We underwent again a lot of layoffs in the dot-com boom burst time also in 2001, 2002. So again, those people they lost jobs, then came back again when the outsourcing boom happened. Okay, so that's how this industry is like that only now. So you have to be prepared and learn yourself or get trained and keep yourself updated. If you don't keep you updated in the IT industry, then it's a cycle for 5 years. Maybe you may be able to be a bit more, sometimes lucky to go beyond that. But if you don't change your expertise or not expertise, your technology, this thing, knowledge base, you can get redundant.
Uh,
So even the age also is not a factor. So if you are getting, say you've done 20 years of job in a particular area of technology, you still have to get yourself trained onto new things so that you can work onto new areas. So age is just a factor. People just think that because I'm getting higher salary, that's why I'm getting laid off. That's not the point. If you train yourself in new technology and are able to work in that new environment, then you will get paid also better, and you will be able to continue your career. But those who get stagnated are the ones who will obviously not grow.
Sir, good evening, sir. Coming toward the
Really?
same point, as you said, like in dot-com boom, many of the jobs we have left over, and we have read that case studies as well. So, sir,
Mm.
in now current age, what about the strategic hiring in the age of AI? About like what the HR are basically seeing in a person in this particular era?
So this era, I just said in the beginning that we are looking at expertise and experience, ability to drive outcome, handle teams, 360-degree view. Nowadays, when we're doing evaluation for leadership hiring, because we can't afford to make a mistake. Yeah? One mistake can, earlier days, maybe 60-70% of the talent we hired were good. That's fine. 30-40% not good. Okay, they will move out and we'll replace them. But nowadays, because of the cycle time, the turnover of technology, the customer having so many options, and people also, are far more better trained. So everybody looks up to the leader to see what direction, what growth the person is showing. So the timelines to deliver are now becoming shorter and shorter. So now when we evaluate for leadership skills, we really look at what has been the outcomes he has achieved in his previous companies. Has it a 360 view, customer, ecosystems, peers, managers, reportees? How is he managed them? What kind of strategic thought? What kind of changes he has brought to the table? Has he handled difficult situations well? You know, and then we do ref checks, as I said, and psychometric tools also used. So these are the few things that are nowadays being used to identify better talent at the leadership level. And
Coming toward
obviously,
this,
knowledge of AI is now mandatory also. So basic level of AI, everybody should now know. It's like knowing PC. You should know how to use a PC at that point of time. Now
yes.
smartphones, obviously, but at that point of time, it was like knowledge of PC is absolutely necessary. So now the knowledge of AI is also important.
Yes, sir. Coming to the same points, we are seeing a complete transformations and layoff as well. Is like
Mm.
literally the HR analytics is getting changed, or is like sometimes we are seeing that the new HRs having the new mindset and that they are hiring something different?
See, HR is now slowly getting more and more aligned with business goals. So earlier, HR was a function and it had people resources, performance management, training, all that stuff going on. And when the industry was doing very well, it had a role which was okay. They were doing things which were mandatory, sometimes based on compliance, regulatory affairs. They were just following the rules and the laws and regulations predominantly. Performance management, then giving increment cycles, and the company and the industry was booming. So you know, no problem financially. We could give. And sometimes in the early 2000s and late 90s, organizations give two or three, sometimes three increment cycles also. Now things have changed a lot. So now HR has now become a strategic partner to the core business goals of the company. So what I mean by that is that what the company wants to do now and what it wants to do 3 years or 5 years down the line, there has to be a complete alignment. And the business goals have to align with the HR goals. Meaning, or rather, I will say HR goals have to align with the business goals. So if the company wants to move to an expertise of, say, B, then what are the skill set, leadership skills, medium managerial skills, technical skills required? What kind of competencies are required at each level? The HR has to fundamentally align itself to that. So now that means that if there's a talent pool which has got skills A and talent pool which has got skill B and talent pool which has got skill C, so you identify that okay, B will go to that position quite well because they already have that. A and C are not there. So what training we need to do for A and C? If C is something which is completely out of whack and not at all required in the future, that will get laid off completely because it is not in A. If this matching say 50-60% and 30-40% needs to be trained. The company will, in the meantime, put them to the training and get them ready, say in a year and a half time, so that in 3 years' time, those guys are also having B as a skill set. So that's how your HR now starts working aligned to business goals. So your hiring, your training, your empowerments, your identification of leaders to do those kind of jobs, they have to play that role now in much deeper way. So that's why you will see nowadays in companies they're hiring large numbers, but they're also firing simply because the skill compatibility is, and this is undergoing major changes right now because the technology from what it was 10 years back and what it is now undergoing a lot of changes. So those who get trained will obviously move in, and those who have the skills obviously will get hired. But as I said, skill is in short supply; it is not there. And those who are not trained and not trainable, they will get moved out.
So, sir, as today's students are just competing with peer, like they are competing with algorithms, AI screening tools, and global talent pool. So,
So in
is
the age,
AI,
yeah, go ahead, please. Sorry.
yeah. So, like AI literacy now essential for everybody, regardless of specialization and the field they are working. Like when we say future-proof skill set, what does that practically mean? Deeper technical skill, sharper thinking, or like stronger human capabilities?
Yeah, so you, as I said, you basically get educated well. You build your when you do good education, you build stronger thinking capabilities. Then you pick up skills as well, which will help you to use those in your job that you want to do. And AI is a productivity tool. As of now, I will put it that way. It will have other things also down the line. So you should one should pick up. Like I had said, in the early 2000s, we were picking up PCs and Microsoft Office and Word or PPT and all simply because that was giving us the value add at that point of time when we moved into industry at that point 30 years back. So uh, same thing here. So you pick up the tools that are in hot demand right now and which is required. That's something you have to pick up on AI skills. You have to do that. If your faculty is not putting it, then you'll do it on your own and spend time and money, whatever. But you have to have that capability to basically use how to use AI. I'm talking about basic level. I'm not talking at a expertise or a doctorate level and all. I'm just talking about basic level usage. And so in the HR space, yeah, I just say AI right now is impacting only the junior most levels. So obviously, when you're joining as a fresher, you are getting impacted because generally when you join a company, you join at the junior most level, no, and then you move up. So that is the role of the task where it is affecting the talent, human talent, AI. So you are going to compete with AI in the junior most level initially, but you if you have the AI capability, then you can compete. And that's what I'm going to say. So I told you, the AI models are such that they're not perpetually going to give you the results for lifetime. They also can get molded and people can beat it. So that also has to evolve. So when you now come in, when you're young recruiter, suppose let's take recruitment only. You're coming as a recruiter, you're AI trained. So then you start knowing that is the AI engine working for you in the company or not. Because you will start seeing results before the AI engine starts. AI result will not give you the saying, okay, I'm making mistake now. That the AI engines never tell. That the human being only will able to understand that. That's a human judgment skill. So you know that then if you have the AI knowledge, then you can start working on building the newer models of AI. And then so recruitment is not going to be just doing search, match, and rank the CV. Then your value addition is coming. Okay, now the AI engine is getting beaten by this system. Then I need to tweak the model here, and then I tweak the model with algorithms and whatever, and then that engine starts becoming better. So your work now becomes tweaking. Uh, Part of it is of the HR side where you're evaluating, and then part of it is building your AI tool, a productivity tool, and ensuring that that is giving you the right result. So your job now becomes a little bit more value added. So you are also doing resume screening, interview, but your AI engine is also you're working on the AI engine, and the AI engine is acting as your assistant and your productivity assistant to improve your productivity. Then it starts making you start differentiating yourself from others, who don't have that AI knowledge.
Okay, so correctly point out, like we have to leverage the AI, not see as
Yeah.
a
So you
competitor.
don't see it as a competitor. You have to use it and learn it first, use it, and then start getting results out of it.
Yes, sir. Like so when two candidates looking identical on their resume, like they hold similar kind of skills, similar kinds of education, like what invisible signal decide like who get the offer if you like have only one position?
No, no, on the CV, I don't think we can decide. We'll have to evaluate them also, interview them, use some evaluation techniques like psychometric or whatever. There is a lot of technique tools also available. So you decide on that. I think on looking at two CVs, then every campus guy will get the same job. So I don't think that is the criteria for selection. Yeah, it is a criteria for the first filter maybe. So maybe both can get shortlisted or both can get rejected. But fundamentally, selection is based after a thorough interview and a evaluation process.
Okay, sir. So, like, sir, as we seen, like in my age or in like 25 and 23, no one has managed like massive teams. So, what early behavior signal leadership potentials? Like, how you decide like it is a potential leader for our organization?
What if I'm not wrong? You are saying if you have not managed large teams, you're not a leader.
So, like, if young professional, I am applying for the junior position, but
Hmm.
yes, as a initially, I don't have managed like big teams, and so like, what early behavior signals that
Okay,
decide if the
that's
person have a
yeah.
leadership potential?
No, so you don't have to manage teams right away. You basically see the first few jobs, first few years will be spent as a person who is a specialist. You build your capability in a job that you've taken up, and you build depth and expertise in that. And once you start, getting into the role where you are self-confident and you are self-aware of how to do and get the job done without much guidance from people on the top, and they completely start relying on you, they will say, okay, now you can probably manage a few people under you because you know that subject very well and you know that job extremely well. And once you do that, then you start managing a few junior people, and that's the first step towards a leadership kind of a role. So leadership doesn't mean you have to manage 100 people. As a matter of fact, I don't think 100 people management teams are nowadays that relevant. Also, what you have to really see is that if you're managing whatever team, are you giving their outcome that is required or not? So it has to be more outcome based. And for getting into leadership role, you yourself have to be extremely very good. Your interpersonal communication skills have to be very good, because then you can start telling people under you what you think, what's your thought process, how you think they can be successful, and what you will do to make them successful. And that's how people look up to a leader. So
Sir,
once you get that, then you start from there.
yes, sir. You are on the right path, sir. I just want to have a question on this. Like a country like in India, we are not, I think, ready for the R&D in the AI. We are just making it process optimization or the thing like that. So, what do you think that an Indian will start something like this AI engines or the AI sub things so that we can also have that R&D part of AI in India as well in future, or you can see that path or roadmap?
No, India people are doing R&D on AI already. It's maybe that the what should I say? Many of them are doing for MNCs and all, like all the Chat GPT, Gemini, and all. Fundamentally, a lot of engineers sitting in India only developed it. Similarly, see, India fundamentally, because it's become a kind of a services hub, so a lot of the job is getting done here, but the branding is overseas. So a lot of American companies and European companies are utilizing the resources here, but they are not. They're getting called out as US products and all. So like all the LLMs and all, a large chunk of it is getting actually trained here and built here in India only. But I think, see, the point is that India also now started now. I think a few products came out in the last AI summit as well, which were built here in India, including multi-language LLMs as well. So that is there. I think the key will be to, like in internet also, internet fundamentally happened most of the things outside, but a lot of the app development and a lot of the app to actual usage of the app and the businesses that were built happened here in India. I would believe that a lot of the AI based apps and their usage in business will also happen in India. So a lot of Indian companies will own AI based apps which can be used as businesses, B2B or B2C or D2C, whatever it may be. And that is where things will make that we'll make that change, because we may have the issue of financial constraint. But I think there are some lot of investments happening nowadays from the government, to get these things. So a lot of work happening out of, I know Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, doing a lot of work on this particular space. So they are doing R&D is happening here, but yeah, the branding is seems to be a little bit more American centric. And the
Yes.
Chinese also obviously have done it over the period of say 10, 15 years. I'm sure in another 5 to 10 years, we will also have some AI brands out of India as well. But I would believe that most of them will be on the app side.
So aside from the professional and the technical, discussions that we've had so far, uh, such a long
Actually,
journey.
one more thing. Sorry. One mistake. Just want to add it to it. Also, the Indian IT services company, that way the model is existing right now, that will also undergo a lot of changes. So people are not being fully aware of it. But many of them, like in our company also, all our service offerings fundamentally has already shifted to a AI-based platform productized service. Okay, so we have started building AI tools on platforms, and we are using the various technologies in testing, on app development, on managed IT, using AI tools. So already, all the companies are more or less getting into that. So the Indian industry also, IT industry will also, over a period of time, you will see that in few years' time, maybe more than 90% of the work they will do is on an AI-based platform.
Uh, that's
Sorry,
a good.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, go ahead now. Sorry, I had to interject
It's
that
quite
part.
all right, sir. I mean, it's a conversation, so coming back and fro works quite well. Uh, with the technical and the professional discussions we've been having so far, you've had an exceptionally long journey in the professional world and all. A human moment sort of defines and breaks the boundaries that we are somehow tied up with. So supposedly, if you were 25 again in today's world, what's the one piece of advice you would give to a young Indraneil who's out there, starting out the journey,
Oh, okay. So let me think through this. So I would say that don't be afraid first. I think it's a excellent in time to be to start your work, because it's a very interesting. Life is very interesting at the end of the day. When you finally settle in, you will find that there are a lot of ups and downs. Fine, but there's nothing is steady in this life. So you'll have to really always be pull up your socks and be at it. So many things happen. So many things you can't anticipate will also happen. So I would say that be smart and be very positive in your attitude. That is the two key ingredients I would say when you want to kick off your career. And always feel free and always look out for learning. Like for me, AI started not now, but 2015, and it was not compulsory to do it because I was one of the recruitment head. I was the general manager looking after leadership hiring there, and there was a incubation happening for an AI product for search and match. So people were told to come and have a look at the product, and I built. I went and saw it. I liked it. It was very extremely rudimentary based on the tools right now, but I liked it, and I thought that maybe there's going to be a future in this particular thing. And I also worked on it for a year and a half, 2 years or so. I also sold it to few companies also in Bangalore. So that's the thing. You don't have to be successful in everything, but you have to have that open mind, pick up your knowledge, improve your knowledge, broad base your knowledge, pick up skills. Skills is important. Like even now, I'm not depending upon my team to do every hiring, and I will just manage it and see they're doing a good job or not. I myself also will get into sourcing and talking to a candidate and taking through the process. So sometimes personal touch is extremely important in the job that you do. So don't be afraid to do the job, get your hands dirty, be positive, and I would say that if you are 25, then that's how you should start your career, and always at that point of time take as many risks as possible, because even like I took slightly later, but uh, I was doing well in the import export import trading house, but then this opportunity came in, and it was for something very new. But I knew the industry was growing fast compared to the other industry. So I said that maybe I can take my chance. So that's how it is. So chances will come in your life, and if you are smart enough, you're knowledgeable, you are able to see your cost benefit analysis, and able to take some risk, you should be doing well.
Thank you, sir. That's a very good, advice in many ways. And for sort of getting having serious conversations do come about to be a bit repetitive and boring in many ways.
Mm.
And we, as such, we have prepared sort of a quick question answer sort of thing. We call it as the human versus machine, and we kept it suitable to the title as well. So whatever comes to your mind, sir, yeah, you may respond to it. It can be a word, it can be a letter, it can even be a paragraph. And if you're comfortable, sir, we can proceed with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one skill AI cannot replace.
Thought.
One hiring myth that must die.
Hiring myth.
Yes, sir.
Oh, what is that? I'm the West.
So resume or LinkedIn, what matters more?
LinkedIn.
Cultural fit or competence?
Uh, well, it's a difficult one. I would say at leadership level, culture fit. At junior level, competence.
India's biggest talent strength.
Knowledge base.
One hiring mistake leaders regret most.
Hiring based on intuition.
So AI in recruitment.
Very good to have.
Thank you, sir. So, one piece of advice, if I were to ask you, since you have seen this evolving landscape, you have gone through the cruxes and the highs and lows of the market itself. One message, as we are on the brink of the end of the sessions, you would like to give to the HR professionals out there. Young HRs, they are entering into the market. They are going through these processes and procedures. One message from your experiences, your journey, that you would find them to have greatly beneficial in their professional getaway.
Well, I'm sure they will have leaders, who will give them the good guidance. But I think one thing I mentioned in my conversation today also, that HR should be aligning themselves with business goals. HR cannot have separate goals, and business cannot have separate goals. Like this issue of uh, attrition control and layoffs. Now, everybody, HR always is very thing that we must pay well, we must get our people, like take care of them. Layoffs will create negative impression, so that is quite natural coming to from an HR person, and it is appreciated also that they will have that empathy as well. But then it also has to be aligning with business goals. So you can't really say, okay, I will give increments and hikes and I will not do layoffs, but company has to grow at 10-15% CAGR. So that balance will have to happen. I think the guys now, I think the old generation HR have found it very difficult. See, guys who joined HR in the IT industry in the 90s, they had a really tough time from 2003 onwards, adjusting to that environment of layoffs and hikes getting reduced. It is not something which is happening now; it is happening since then, and that was the first time it happened actually after a 20-year growth in this industry. So no, but nowadays it's quite common, and people have got used to it. But the guys coming out, because when you're coming out of college first time and getting in the industry, you're very idealistic. So you will always think that, okay, as an HR, I will take care of people. I will make sure that they have good career plans, good growth, and I'll take care of them materialistically or like a paternal figure. So all that also, you will still do that. You will fundamentally, that will be your core job, but it will also has to be aligned with business goals.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. And it was an absolute fun conversations. Usually we had they go from range of technicals to the descriptions, and in many ways exploratory as well. But this conversation seemed really very different. Both all three of us are from the finance background, and we are so much indulged into it. But after this, I must say that we can say that okay, we know a little bit more about HR and the realm of procurement. So thank you so much, sir, for joining with us, and thank you so much for sparing your time. It was an absolute pleasure. And thank you, all
Same here.
listeners.
Yeah.
Stay tuned
And
to Business Unplugged.
thank you for the time. It was a good, fun session. I loved it, and all the very best to you and your platform. Hope you do very well and be successful in life.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care. Bye, everybody.